Today we're going to talk about selling FileLocker through your customers. So you may already be selling online backup. You may already be selling something like antivirus or some other data protection solutions to your customers. And today we're going to talk about selling secure collaboration. So what is it? What is our secure collaboration product? Well, it's called FileLocker. We'll talk a bit about the features and why you want to sell it. And we'll talk about the methods in which you can sell it. And first, before we get into any of that, we're going to talk about who we are. You may not be familiar with this yet, but we have undergone a company brand change. We used to be SOS Online Backup. We've now transformed into InfraScale. The reason that we've done this is to be able to provide a broader variety of products to our IT reseller channel. Some of you on the line today are already partners of ours, so you've been kept up on this change. But don't worry, we're still the same team. We're still the same management team. We've still got the same employees, just simply a different name so that we can offer you more products.
And those of you just joining us again, today we're going to be given a full walkthrough of the FileLocker program by our Director of Marketing, Shaylin Herrick, and the Product Manager, myself, Derek Wood. So thank you for joining, and let's get into it.
Absolutely. So this is just an overview of what InfraScale is and what we'll soon be providing to you. Presently, we already offer you SOS Online Backup. There is a partnership program for that product. We now offer FileLocker, which is public and private cloud collaboration for small business and enterprise. And within the beginning of this year, we will also be offering a product called Enterprise Protect, so please stay tuned for that.
And just to get a quick survey on the line, who is already familiar with our backup services and who's already a partner of the backup services? If you're not, that's fine. Just trying to get a feel of who's familiar with our program and how it works.
Absolutely. So what is FileLocker? Many of you may already be familiar with Box and DropBox, and that's probably the best place to start orienting yourself when we talk about what FileLocker is and what it offers to you and your customers. The main difference between the two being security and also a channel distribution model. So FileLocker is a truly secure cloud collaboration solution, and the reason we say that is because it includes end-to-end encryption that's unavailable in any other free file collaboration tool. So you really can encrypt the data that you intend to sync and share locally, in transit, and at rest in the data center.
And the emphasis on the end-to-end encryption is really the HIPAA compliance aspect. We do have an option where the passphrase is never sent to the cloud. When we're talking about collaboration services, the big differentiation and why we feel our offering is special is the box services and the other sync services of the world were adopted democratically by the people. People decided, hey, this is really helpful to me. I can put files in here, and when I'm working with other people, I can easily share and collaborate with them on it. Well, that adoption was great for the market and to grow the awareness and actually force a technical adoption at a much faster rate than we saw with backup and that you see with a lot of technical services. So now you already have, within a couple years, enterprise adoption of such a new service. Well, we came in thinking, this is really terrible when it comes to a business environment. For individual users, maybe students, sure, but if you need to have any type of audit controls or reporting to know where your intellectual property is residing in the cloud, this grassroots adoption is absolute poison to your business and will keep your CIO and CTO up late at night thinking, my oh my, where's my data? So we went out to build a top-down solution. So management adopts this. You put your logo on it, gives it a little bit of authority, and then all your business users use this service instead. That way, all the information stays yours. So internally, we keep a mantra of security, security, value, and that the first part of security is, like we said, the encryption from a software perspective as well as an infrastructure perspective. Then the second security is more from a deployment option. So with file servers, you want them on site so you can control and have it behind your firewall, make sure you know who's touching what. You can deploy FileLocker behind your firewall too. It's terrific. And no one else offers both solutions. It's either, okay, you have a file server, SharePoint or Active Directory, something like that, or you do a cloud collaboration service where you have no controls. We offer both, and that's really where we come in heavy.
So with this option, either public cloud or private cloud, you get a whole host of features. Some are relatively standard across the industry and others aren't. So in the collaboration area of features, of course, you get to collaborate with end-to-end encryption, share, preview, and edit files in the cloud. Being able to edit files in the cloud is brought to you by a plugin called Zoho, so it's constantly being updated and managed. You can create secure permalinks to files and folders. You can even password protect them if you like. You can password protect and ultra-safe protect files at the desktop level. You can upload files up to 2 gigabytes, and we include desktop sync for multiple folders on the desktop, not just one, which makes it very, very easy to manage and really replicate your folder structure from your desktop or in your My Documents folder straight to your FileLocker account. For mobile access, you can access on any device at m.filelocker.com. You can preview, share, and send files, and search all of your files. And of course, this is available in any device. And administrative controls are really quite special. This is going to be very important for the IT manager, which may be you, in this case, if you are managing this account for your customer. Or you may be wanting to install FileLocker for your customer, and they may have an on-site IT manager. In any case, this is going to be really important for them. You'll be able to do audit trail reporting, so you'll be able to see a full activity history of changes, uploads, downloads, edits, etc. that may have occurred to a file or folder. You can monitor usage and file statistics. So if you're monitoring for, say, security breaches, you might be looking for a hot file, so one that's been downloaded more times than normal. You would be able to see that in the administrative controls section. You'd be able to shut that activity down if it concerned you. And you'd be able to set retention policies across an entire company. So these are just 3 that are really popular and really meaningful for most individuals and most businesses. But towards the end of this presentation, Derek is going to take us through a demonstration in which he'll review all of these things. Steve's got a quick question. He says, any device? For the mobile application, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, any device, I mean, let's not talk about flip phones, but you know, HTML5 mobile site is available for devices without native applications, but we are quickly going to be releasing native applications for iOS, Android, and Windows Mobile.
Thanks, Derek. So why do you want to be the one selling FileLocker? I'm going to jump around a little bit on this slide because I want to call out something that I think is really the most important, and that's that you could install a private deployment of FileLocker on any of your customers' networks. So let's say you've got a customer that has maybe 10 employees. They aren't only going to want to use a secure collaboration solution with only their 10 employees. They're going to want to use it with their vendors, with their customers, etc. So that network immediately grows to maybe 30 people. So 30 collaborators used on this account. You are able to launch a machine with relatively minimal requirements. You don't have to buy it from us. You can build it yourself and create that private instance of FileLocker in their location. So it's a private deployment. So because it's in their location, that's why we call it a private deployment. Some people also call it an on-premise deployment. The nomenclature is kind of fuzzy, but those are 2 phrases that we hear commonly. And it would be within their network. It could be behind their firewall. If they had one, it would be only their instance. So you'd be able to control the billing relationship. You'd be able to manage it if you wanted to. But the key part is that it's private. So they would always own the metal. Your customer would always know where the data is. Got another question from Steve. So any device in the future not present, which devices do you support now, since no iOS support currently? So we do not have an iOS desktop application for the sync application. That's all, but that is coming. Hopefully that answered your question. So second to private deployment that makes FileLocker really important to you and your customers and why you want to be the one selling it is unmatched security. So when you are employing the ultra-safe local encryption tool, you are encrypting your sync data locally at 256-bit AES encryption, in transit at 256-bit SSL, and at rest in the data center, whichever data center or whichever server you choose, at 256 AES-bit AES again. So that's 3 tiers of encryption. So if somebody were to get to it, rather unfortunately, at the end state or even in the in-transit state, for example, it would be completely undecipherable. So very important for you and your customers. We find that this is really important to finance customers in banks and companies with government contracts. So if you have any customers like that, you're definitely going to want to tell them about that feature.
Or even smaller security firms. I mean, it's roughly half of businesses in the U.S. do not want their file server, which is what a FileLocker system is, in the cloud, and have hence banned systems like Box and DropBox. So that's the low-hanging fruit. Is there is a tremendous number of businesses, not necessarily enterprise, that have simply banned these public cloud collaboration services. So when you come across those businesses, you now have a really simple option. Hey, you want the benefit of the flexibility and the speed of collaboration and the audit controls of, say, a Box service, but need the security of an on-premise file server? FileLocker is your answer. So it's really, that's the low-hanging fruit. That's, people are looking for the solution. And again, it's been arrived at democratically. The people have demanded it. It just didn't pass the security sniff test. Now that the sniff test is kind of done, people know what they're looking for. That's what we've delivered here.
Yep. And just because something isn't secure doesn't mean that you should completely eliminate it from your organization. It means that you should find a secure solution. So that's what we've aimed to provide here. So this graphic that Derek's just put on the screen is an infographic detailing our world-class security and detailing the end-to-end encryption used in the FileLocker software. So unlike most free file sharing tools or even paid file sharing tools out there in the world, FileLocker encrypts your files before they are sent to the cloud. So in step 1 here on the left-hand side of the diagram. In step 2 of the diagram, you can see that files are being sent through a 256-bit SSL tunnel to the cloud. So again, completely encrypted, completely secure. Finally, when it arrives at the data center, whichever data center or server you choose, could even be on-premise, it's encrypted a third time with 256-bit AES encryption.
And again, we were the first to introduce end-to-end encryption with online backup services, and we're the first to do so with online collaboration services. The significance is that we've always maintained a focus on the security of our customers' data, because we've focused on really business services. So business continuity being both the security of intellectual property, which FileLocker answers, and the business continuity and security of keeping data off-site at the right time, which our online backup service covers. With this process, we're also one of the only, or if not the only, HIPAA-compliant sync service. And the local encryption happens when you do an ultra-safe item. And you'll find that a lot of services, not to be named in this session, do not do any level of encryption. So there is an issue with one of these services that will not be named, that your data was literally publicly available for the first 6 hours after you uploaded it to the cloud. Wasn't transferred over an SSL. Some services still make the SSL a option that's not really that understandable, as far as the user doesn't know that it's an option. So it's by default over HTTP, and there is no SSL involved. So it's a focus that we've had, and it's really because we've gone to it. All right, we got report that the audio is out. And can anyone hear us? Just go do a chat to see if the audio video chat.
Okay, Ken says he hears us.
Oh, Ken, nice to see you. Audio is perfect. All right,
okay.
Dan, it might be you. So Dan.
Okay, Dan says
Dan's back. Cool.
Great.
All right. Well, now it's back. Let's move on.
Okay, excellent. I think we're ready to move on to the next slide. So, of course, by now you're wondering, well, how can you sell this stuff? We've talked it up quite a bit, and you'll see a bit more about it later. But we want to let you know that there's 2 methods for doing this. The first and the easiest by far is public cloud referrals. So this is a commission revenue share style arrangement where you would receive 20% commission on sales of the product. All customers would end up first using our free account, which you can get at filelocker.com/signup if you want to try it out yourself. And then upon upgrade to a paid account, you would receive 20% of that commission. You would also continue to receive that if, say, your customer, for example, is paying on a monthly basis. You continue to receive that for the life of the account. So there's the best way to distribute it really is with social media. Other ways you can distribute it is perhaps by email. on your website. And you're not limited to just distributing it to your clients, too. You could absolutely be giving it to your friends, family, coworkers, begin using it in your organization. And it could also be viewed as a stepping stone to selling private cloud wholesale.
So I want to go through the referral program a little bit. So when you're deploying this out, when we mean the referrals below the companies you sign up, if you're using the the FileLocker service, and you invite somebody to collaborate with you in a folder and this person does not have an account yet, they're going to get a URL to first register for the service for their own separate account, but they'll be working with you. And then if at some point, maybe they upgrade to a full account because working with you was so nice with the service that now they want to use it with many other users. And they get, the first account is free with, 5 users, 5 gig each, and it's great. And you can do this 4 times. So really that's the reason we went, for those of you familiar with the backup system like Ken and Dan and some of the others maybe, the reason that the wholesale model is not prevalent here is because of the viral aspect of the system. So when people get invited to the system, you get 4 degrees of separation of customers using the service. So really the best strategy would be get a customer that you're close to, get them to fully implement and adopt this as a new file management system. And once you get that done, not only do you have a nice test bed and case study for people who have successfully adopted this service, but now you also have people using it as not only a back office system, which is SharePoint's just back office, just internal use only. This is a front office system too, so you use it with other vendors, customers, or just non-users altogether. And that's where the beauty of this program comes in. And then as Shane was about to get into, the private cloud wholesale. So this is, of course, per deployment, and this is really great for your managed services. So from a managed service perspective, you now have a new device on site that needs to be monitored and managed. So it's your hardware, you pick it, we'll send the software and set it up for you, and then you're off and running. But then on a regular basis, somebody is going to need to be monitoring the RAID and making sure that bandwidth is great and the performance is good.
And maybe even some administrative oversight as well, depending on the customer. So the big difference between this private cloud wholesale model versus the public cloud referral model is, number one, the uncapped margin opportunity. So you would be buying from us on a per user license basis with no limitation on usage, just per user. So unlimited storage effectively because you're controlling it. So you would be able to resell that user license for whatever price you choose. You'd be able to manage the billing relationship and manage that recurring revenue. And as Derek mentioned, also be able to take advantage of any additional revenue that might be there, like for managing hardware. You could create a private cloud in any network on any server. We do have some technical requirements that we can share with you if you're curious about what you would need in order to install this type of network, but it's really not that complicated.
Yeah, just get in contact with our partner specialist and they'll be able to run through it with you.
Yeah, it's really pretty basic. It's stuff you could just pick up at your local. We have Fry's here. I know there's like Incredible Universe and things like that all across the country, but you could just pick stuff up in an Acton and build a machine. There is an initial monthly investment of $750 per month, and that does cover your users. So it's not an additional fee that you're just paying for no reason, but it does cover your user licenses.
All right, question here. Do you have a French version? No, we do not have a French version.
And we have another question from Daniel. Is it similar to Jungle Disk for work groups cloud drive, i.e. mobile workers can map a drive letter to the cloud storage, changes made on a cloud drive file are synced back to a folder on site at the client's location?
I think let's just show them in the demo because I think our desktop integration is much smoother than that. It doesn't change your workflow very much, and we'll show you that in the demo.
Yep, absolutely.
So how can you sell FileLocker? Well, if you're already a backup partner, we'll show you in a minute. You're going to have a little FileLocker module in the bottom right hand of your partner dashboard, and you just hit Learn More, then Enable, and you get a link where you can start having people sign up. If you have some private cloud opportunities, call on the partner specialist. If you don't already have one, the number is 877-896-3611, extension 1. And they'll be able to walk through, the pricing options, make sure that this is appropriate for you.
Jeff has a great question. How many users are included with the $750 a month investment? 215. That's 215, Jeff.
All right. Ken, good question. You're a special case. Why don't we talk later? Ken's been on for quite some time, so he's got different questions. But I think this makes sense. So the commission's paid on a quarterly basis, and then we'll show you the dashboard. You just have a little report that shows you how many users have signed up and what you should expect for your next commission statement.
Yep, absolutely. So if you are selling on the referral basis, what exactly are you selling? Your users are probably going to want to upgrade to a monthly plan, and these are the plans that they can presently upgrade to. So with this upgrade, they would get administrative controls, they would get desktop sync, they would be able to get access to largely the administrative controls, which is really the benefit, which Derek's going to show you later. The first plan is 6 to 10 users, so they could use up to 10 users. They can use those 10 users however they want, wherever they want, for $50 per month. So it breaks down to $5 per user per month, of which you get 20% paid out quarterly.
We have some good questions I want to clarify. So one, where's the link to create a reseller account?
We're gonna go over that in the demo. It is specific to those of you who already are online backup resellers. David, I think Derek would probably know you if you were, so let us know if you're already selling online backup. Michael asks, what is the break even on a number of accounts at $750 per month? So if you were purchasing it from us at $3 and...
Well, actually, I want to take this. Sorry, Shade. So the $750 a month is, it's not really a break-even model, right? So the break-even is $750 a month, right? What you're charging. This is the cost per deployment. So this is per one customer. So if you have for example, we have and it covers up to 180 users, I think.
215.
215 users. So if you're buying this from us, this is for one customer, but the value is not so much in how many users you get. I mean, that's great if it's a big situation, but we're talking thousands and thousands of businesses who simply are looking for a service that they can use, but the public cloud doesn't pass a sniff test, or their security mantra, preferences, whatever you want to call it. So we even have a 20-man firm that's just a small software development firm, actually here in LA, and they heard about this and they jumped on it immediately. They said, "Oh, that's awesome, $750 a month, no problem." It wasn't even really a matter of questions. It was just, oh, there's finally a valuable service for collaboration that we can use. So 215 users, that's for a single deployment. So if you had a larger business, say a larger enterprise, you need more users than that, then there's price breaks beyond that. And for that information, again, I'd point to our partner specialist to go through it. Do you have private cloud with your servers? So dedicated infrastructure with us? Yes, and that's kind of a unique thing, and it starts at, you would have to basically lease a cluster of ours. So that's the only way to do that. Michael, if you want to go through that in more detail, again, get a hold of our partner specialist, and then we'll get on the call and go through all the specifics of that.
Andre's curious about rebranding private deployments. Definitely get in touch with our partner specialist, and they can talk to you specifically about your case.
All right. Steve says, maybe in LA, but not in Mississippi. So, one, the LA economy is absolutely terrible, so let's get that straight. So don't think LA is big spenders. Most of our business is actually comes from the East Coast and the Mid-East and the Southeast. So that being said, the value is in security, both in software and in deployment options. If you need a collaboration service and this increases your productivity to a point where it pays for it to be there, then great. If not, then you can just maintain that our security is fine on our end, and then you can just go through this pricing scheme. Okay, so this we could show you in the demo, but this is basically a screenshot of what it looks like in the dashboard.
So this is just to show you, if you are selling in the public cloud referral model, how widely this can spread. So when one user creates an account, they're also asked to add a friend. Therefore, 1 really equals 2, and so on and so forth. So the program is designed to go viral. So if you only have, let's say, 20 people that you could seed this with, imagine that to grow exponentially. So don't just limit yourself to thinking about the people that you know. Think about the people that they know and the people that they know and those that they know.
Okay. And from some of our backup partners, we have some questions about rebranding, which I'll address. So rebranding for backup is fine because it helps keep, your brand in the eyes of your customers. The backup report gets there, it's your brand on it, et cetera. That's great. With FileLocker, the value of this platform, with a file management platform, is that you have 1 million users on it. If we rebrand FileLocker, it splits up the user buckets so that those users can't work together. So rebranding is not a primary part of this program. We do make exception if there are large deployments or maybe large enterprises, say Northrop Grumman wanted to rebrand this for them. That's fine because they wouldn't be using it as a front office service anyways. So if you are interested in private cloud or private labeling, again, call the partner specialist. They'll go through the program with you, and if we can determine that this is a valuable effort, then sure, it's certainly something that we do have, but it's not as common as backup, where backup it was a default part of the partner program.
Yeah. All right. So I know a lot of you guys on the line today do have questions about wholesale private cloud, so let's talk a little bit more about that. Deploy FileLocker in your cloud or any cloud. So really the value of this is the flexibility of where you can deploy it. Monthly payment plans start at $750 a month, which, as I mentioned, covers 215 users, and of course storage is unlimited, or rather limited to the server or the device that you decide to start working with. Based on the wholesale price versus the resale price, this gives you about a 30% wholesale discount. Packaging and billing is completely controlled by you. So if you want to function on paper invoices, that's cool. You can do that. Collect the checks from your customers. If you want to collect money via PayPal from your customers, cool. You can do that too. However it works within your business model, you can control the packaging and the billing relationship.
Plus, it then reinforces your managed service package, because somebody is going to have to monitor the performance of this hardware, and that person should be you. So it's a nice way to get into managed services if you are still transitioning that way, or just to continue them. Managed services, it's all about being able to show more and more that you're helping and becoming an asset to your company. So starting with backup, lowest common denominator, everyone needs a backup, managed backup service, great. Now that you're a managed service provider, you bring in FileLocker and you say, hey, this is how you can be more productive. Now you're becoming a true business asset to your customers. And that's why we feel that the programs fit very nicely alongside each other.
And not only that you can become more productive, but we're going to give you the ability to be that productive that you can be with a collaboration solution, and do it securely. So some companies are blocking services that shall not be named on this webinar, and they're doing it because they're not secure. But companies can greatly benefit from collaboration software. So don't force them to block it. Offer them FileLocker, which allows them to perform collaboration securely.
Yeah, there's a company co-brand, which I'll go through in the demo, which will make it very clear as well. And we also have a knowledge base where we can put these discussions.
Yeah, I feel like we've gone over pricing pretty extensively for the FileLocker private cloud program. So let's go ahead and move on to the demo section. And while Derek's going through the demo, I'll ask you to go ahead and keep sending in questions, but we will answer them either at the moment that feature is being discussed, or wait until the end of the demo to answer them.
All right. So again, we are recording this, so hopefully we've been doing a good job, and we'll be posting it on our website, so you'll be able to see everything that we talked about. Again, if you had some other people who wanted to review what was discussed, and we do host this on a regular basis. Also, I do host a more specific product run-through on a weekly basis. The last one was yesterday, so if you missed it, I'm sorry. The next one will be next Friday, the 8th. Actually, we're going to have to cancel that one because I'm going to be out of town. So we have a recording of a more detailed run-through of this, and if you go through our support site, you can see that. So first, just FileLocker.com. The website gives you information about what's going on, so if you want more information. So introductions, security, private cloud options, plans and pricing. for you all, we do have a knowledge base, just like we have in backup land. So you come here and we're filling out all the different items. So the admin functionality for can we ask questions, feel free to search through. So like Active Directory, does it integrate with Active Directory? Really common question. Does FileLocker integrate with Active Directory? Yes. And then I went through, put an article together with all sorts of screenshots. So if you want to take a look, you can do that. Also, it's free to sign up. So if we go back home, get started, you can just sign up with an account. You're going to get a free account. Okay, so with that, let's get into the software. So here's our login page. Now the login page, we'll go through the branding. So I'm going to go through this, press admin account, and now I'm logging in as a company admin. So in FileLocker land, there are a couple different roles. There's the company administrator role, there's the user role, there's the outsider who does not have a login. They're not part of the system, but they can participate within the system. And then for the first two, you have free and paid versions. So the free version that you can sign up as and pay nothing, you have the ability to basically use the system for basic collaboration. You have a per file size limitation of 25 megabytes, and you do not have the ability to run reports on users or files. There's no LDAP integration, FTP connector. These types of admin controls basically are disabled. When you pay, you get all the admin functions, plus you will have a increase in the number of users up to 10 users. Each user, even if you don't have 10, doesn't matter. You just get up to 10 with the first upgrade. Each user also gets upgraded to unlimited storage, so it's no longer limited to 5 gigabytes, and your per file size limitation will go up to 2 gigabytes. So again, file size limitation, per account storage, and admin controls are all what you get with the paid item. So first, let's just go through basic collaboration. Okay. Anyone already have an account, or anyone mind that we can use? Well, we can just bounce back and forth. So first, I'm going to go home. And let me make sure I'm going to minimize this and show you my desktop as well. Okay. So on my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder. New folder will be Jan 31 training. So here's a folder, and let's open up. Actually, we can open up. We can just save this presentation to it. So I'm going to save as. Go to my desktop, Jan 31 training, and save it in here. Okay. So I have the desktop application installed, and I can see the icon in the bottom right here. But you don't often need to come to the actual icon. The interface, like what we talked about before, is more of a desktop integration. So the idea is that your users don't have to learn how to use a new drive letter like you do with Dropbox or Google Drive or some other services. It's simply using Windows, and that's it. And then all of a sudden you have this great advantage of having FileLocker as a part of your Windows workflow. So I have this folder and I have this training. Let's say I want to collaborate this with somebody. So I right-click and I have the FileLocker option. And I can sync and share, show sync options or status. I'm just going to select sync. So now that I've decided that, hey, you know what, I want to sync this folder to my FileLocker cloud, it's going to ask me, that's great. Where in your FileLocker cloud, as far as which folder would you like to sync this to? So we're going to get a little pop-up. Here it is. So now this is giving me my folder structure in FileLocker. So let's create a new folder called Jan 30 Training. It's always nice to keep consistent naming conventions, even between the desktop and the cloud, although you don't have to. So if you have a rather messy item there, then you don't have to, keep your messy folder structure. You can always change it. Good question. Does it integrate with Mac? Well, not just yet. So Jan 31 training, we say, okay, great, that's where I want to sync the folder. So now it says sync is started. So I want to see the update. I'm like, okay, let's prove it. Show status, and it's showing me all the items that it's working on. So it's going to go through here and sync. Now let's go back up to the website. I'm going to expand this now, hide the desktop, and just refresh. Now I have this folder, Jan 31 training, and when the sync app runs, we're going to see a folder that gets, or the file get uploaded here. Now while that's running, so we can kill two birds with one stone, let's say we want to do the ultra-safe sync, which is one of the big differentiating options of our service. So then we actually do go to right-click and add Set Up Deal Ultra-Safe folder. Ultra-safe, as those of you familiar with backup land, means HIPAA compliant for us. Basically, when we say ultra-safe, we mean this is we designed this with HIPAA compliance in mind. So same type of thing, it's going to ask you to select a local folder. So I'm going to keep the desktop for simple demo purposes, and we'll say Jan 31 ultra-safe. Hit OK. Now it's going to ask you to select a cloud folder, so same thing. It's going to fetch the list of folders from the server and populate them in this window. And then we're going to select the folder in the FileLocker cloud that we're going to use. So again, I'll create a new folder, Jan 31 ultra-safe. So it's created the folder in the cloud, and that's just refreshing. There we go. I hit OK. And now I hit my passphrase. So the passphrase, again, is something that is never going to be transferred to our servers. That's what makes it HIPAA compliant, is we're never storing the password for access to this folder. The option here is to auto-publish to my other devices, so, or the computers as it says. So the reason you would use this is, let's say you have a desktop and a laptop, one's at your office, one's at home, or both are at your office, but you just take the laptop home with you. Or you have a computer in a lab if you're doing some research, or if you're in a library, probably not the library, but if you have multiple machines, then this says to my other machines running the sync client, automatically add this folder locally and set up the sync relationship. So I hit set up sync, and now we can go back and let me pull this folder to the screen that you all can see. Well, we can show the status of our sync app. And let's open up the cloud again, and then we'll refresh and show that we have created the ultra-safe folders. So here they are. So we have ultra-safe, ultra-safe. So now let's also save a file to the ultra-safe cloud. And we'll do it, we can do a PDF as well. So you see the icon here in the browser that has the lock on it, indicating it's ultra-safe. We save that there. And then we actually, to sync, we're actually going to have to close this file. So now we see that the file's been uploaded. So I can refresh, and then I see one file uploaded to each file. Now, how do you get notified of the activity? Well, one, you have preferences to change the notifications, but two, you have the activity feed. It shows you all the information that's been changed or modified by you and your users in your files. So when you have people collaborating with you, you get an update of, oh, this was modified, this was not modified. And you can view that, you can share it, it's all great. Any questions about the desktop sync? Okay, I'm going to go in the Jan 31 folder, and I'm going to just drag and drop a quick Excel doc in here. So let's say, this, just drag and drop it right into the browser. And I've added that to this folder. And then when the sync runs, which it runs fairly regularly, every 15 minutes or so, it's going to download a copy of this to the desktop. So if I go to sync, and it runs every few minutes, but for the demo I'll speed it up. So there, one file downloaded. So I go to my desktop and I open up this folder, and here I have this Excel document now. So let's open this up and let's say, okay, we're working on this with somebody, and I'm just working on it from my desktop. So this gives us a risk registry that we go through in some of our other demonstrations. And let's just make a really gross change that we can recognize. So I'm going to change the highlight to this disgusting red. So perfect. So I'm going to save this, and I close it. I'm done working on it. And what's going to happen is when the sync runs again, which I'll speed it up, it's going to upload a new version of this. So then I go to Shift, Recovery. It says modified 11 seconds ago by you. It'll show up in my activity. And if I do a right-click on the Actions button, then I can view the audit history of the file. So first it says it was uploaded 1 minute ago by you, and then modified 20 seconds ago by you. So let's do this. Let's go and do a quick collaboration. We'll do it on time. Pretty good. And I'll invite a collaborator. So we do have some plugins with LinkedIn. So with the LinkedIn plugin, you would be able to search through any LinkedIn contacts. You just have to authenticate that. The company admin also has the ability to disable that plugin for the users if for some reason you don't want that. You can make a collaboration viewing or just editing. So for example, Shaylin and her team, and me included, we collaborate with our sales team with marketing collateral and sales sheets. And we do viewing only because we don't want them editing the files that we've created. So we just want them to get updated when we update our collateral. So that's how we do that. But with editing is when you're actually working together with people on files. So I'm going to add myself. I wonder if that'll work. And I can create a message here if I like, but I'll invite collaborators. Okay, great. So let me log out. Now I'll log in as myself. And now I get this notification here as well as in an email form that, hey, somebody's invited you to collaborate with something. And I'll say, okay, great, I'll accept this invitation. And then it pops me right into the folder that I've been invited to collaborate in. When I'm in a folder, it tells me in the left here, who else is collaborating with you in this folder. That way you're aware, so you don't put files that are maybe sensitive or whatever it is. But now I have this file, copy of risk registry. And I say, okay, well, let's take a look at this. So I'm going to edit in the cloud. And this is really slick because a lot of services make you download this little application and install it that lets you, it actually opens up native Word on your machine and saves it in a temporary location, and it's kind of frustrating. So I say, oh, this whole red thing is just ridiculous. I can't believe that this change would have ever been made. And so I just, change it to no fill. Just go back to normal. That's just ridiculous. And also, it's 2 Ps, not 1. So we save these changes, and that's great. And then if we run this, and then the sync in a minute or two, or if I just run it right now, we'll download the new version that I just modified. So as a collaborator, I modified the file, and then it downloaded it to my local machine. So if I go back here, and this is let me close the window so you can see the flow I'm going through in a little more sense. I open up this folder, I open up copy of risk registry, and now I see that, this change was made and the double Ps are there, and that's great, and that's nice collaboration. And let's say I wanted to, let's go back and log in as a demo admin. And that's a real good example of how all these things work. Any questions on what we've gone through? I got one good question here. Do all files open using Zoho product services? No, Zoho is for editing Excel and Word documents in the cloud. But there's preview options in the browser as well.
So for example, if you wanted to preview a CAD file, you'd be using Autodesk, or I'm sorry, AutoWheel. But there are different services for each type of file type preview.
Right, exactly. So let's go back. So I go to Jan 31 training, and we see that option made. So let's say I don't want to change anything to say, you missed the spot. And then that comment would also be transferred back. No, you do not need a Zoho account. So the files are not being transferred to Zoho. We're using the APIs to open and edit the files, so you do not need a Zoho account. Good question, Michael. Another good question from Daniel. Is there a remote wipe if employee leaves the company? So with LDAP integration, there's a nice setting here where if we go through that. And actually, we can move on from there. Okay. LDAP integration. Actually, there's a good question here. What's the difference between share and collaborate? Let me get to that, and then we'll go into user management. So there is a share and collaborate function, so I can share at a file or folder level, and it gives me a public link that an outsider can use, and I can also choose to password protect this share. I will be notified whenever somebody downloads from this share, but this is an outsider situation, so anyone can use this URL and download the file that's in here or the files that are in here. So you can share at a file or a folder level. To collaborate, you can only do it at a folder level, and shares do not have to be enabled. Collaborate means you're actually going to be working with somebody who has an account or who is going to create an account. So if they don't have one already, then they'll be sent a registration URL. If they have an account already, they'll just get an invite. So collaboration, folder level, people who have accounts, share, file or folder level, you don't need an account. All right, so let's go. If there are any more questions on that, ask them. I'm going to go into user management. So how do you add users? There's a good article on this. There are 3 ways to add users. One is to go through the admin section, you go to users, you say add new user. You just put in their information, first name, last name, email, password, and storage quota. Then you do bulk add users. Basically same information, except you can do it very quickly. You just keep going down the list. Then you have LDAP integration. LDAP integration means you have an Active Directory server that will connect to via LDAP. So you put in your Active Directory server information based on name. You select simple or custom authentication based on what kind of schema options you have. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow your users to be authenticated, or authorized rather, through your Active Directory server. So if you have an Active Directory server set up and you have all the users and you basically just want everyone in Active Directory to have an account, then this is when you'd use this. And it's going to allow people to just log in. So it won't create the accounts simply by setting this up, but when your user goes to log in with their Active Directory credentials, it'll work, and then it'll create the account. What's also nice about that is, follow up on Daniel's question, what if the employee leaves the company? We have the option here where you have multiple options. You can clear settings and preferences for deleted users, unassociate collaboration settings for deleted users, and you can also back up the files to the admin's account instead of deleting them. So if they're syncing to their desktop and they're removed from the company, they don't leave the company with this cloud service with a bunch of company data in it. They would, which is what happens with the Stealth Cloud issue. The user level adoption of a personal box or Dropbox account, they leave with company data. With this case, it's company-owned account, so all the data just gets moved to the admin account and then maybe deleted there afterwards, or whatever you would want to do. Dan has a good question. Does LDAP authentication force NTLM version 2? That's a great question, and I don't have the answer for you. So we'll get to that, and that would be a great thing to add to the knowledge base. So again, the knowledge base is interactive. It's not just to read. So that would be a perfect thing to put it under here of, you know, community help. So if you wanted to, you know, ask a question, that would be a perfect question to use. So then you log in, become part of the community. It's terrific. It also helps you track any tickets or items you have. There's also a feature request section, which we're very quick to plan around. We plan around, you know, a quarter of our backup set and priorities around the feature request that comes from the partner community. Okay, so let's go to enterprise info. So enterprise info, this is where you can select the company level. So the company admin selects the company name, and they can upload an image to display on the login screen. So everyone has a custom subdomain for login. So this one is press demo. You can make it, you know, company name. So let me log out. So you see the company name goes here, and this is to help authorize or create an authority behind the adoption of this service. Getting users to adopt a new platform is very difficult. You have training, all of a sudden you have new workflows, people get set in their ways, they have pre-existing knowledge about how systems work. Maybe you have employees who've been at the site for 10, 15 years, and they just don't want to learn how to use anything else new. They just let them do it the old way. It's hard to get user-level adoption. So the company-level branding here is to try to help with that. So you see the company logo here. It kind of authorizes, you know what, this is really something we want to pursue. And also the administration gets visibility into who's actually adopted it. So I can go here and I'd see, okay, see my logins over time, and I say, okay, you know what, Harry and David and Robert and, you know, TR Caps, whatever this is, they're just not using the service. I need to go pay them a visit, and maybe you just do, if you see so many people not using this, maybe you do another training. One way to get people to start using it is to adopt it yourself. So what we did internally actually was marketing and sales and management started only distributing information through the FileLocker platform. And then once we started doing that, we saw the adoption really rise across our folks. You can also create more detailed reports. So basically you can see any activity, so all uploads, all downloads, all deletions, all logins, and all edits over time. So let's just do it for the last week. And it'll show us, okay, who's done what and when. And this is, again, part of that audit history that you need as an administrator. Any other questions about what we've gone through so far today? So here I can see this is filled up by this user downloading this file over and over and over again. So I'll just remove him as a collaborator because I'm sure he doesn't want that. And that's control over collaboration controls as well, so you can de-collaborate with somebody. All right, I think that pretty much sums up what we wanted to cover today. If you have any questions, call on our support or call on our sales staff. So our partner specialist, 479-7182. Or you can call on your partner specialist if you're already in our backup program and get to it. Where is it for the backup program? So if we log into our partner dashboard, and we scroll down to the bottom, and on the right side we have this little FileLocker module here, and this will give you your affiliate link. So this will be for common common signups. So if you paste this in anywhere, or if you need to sign people up, you sign them up through here. They'll first get a free account, and then they'll get the upgrade options we displayed previously. And as people upgrade, or sign up and upgrade, we'll start getting reports of, okay, signups and how many accounts are paid accounts, and then what you should expect with the next commission payment. And again, really the best way to get adoption is, and consider it an investment. Give it to one of your customers for free and just make sure they really adopt it through and through. And then you'll start to see that affiliate program really start to pay for itself. And then the real business you're looking for are the private cloud options. That is going to be very, very common. And those of you from backup, it's much more common than a private cloud backup. Backup you want off-site. FileLocker, half the people in the U.S., as surveyed by Forrester, want it on-site. Question by Eric: do you have to be an SOS reseller? No, you don't. But if you're already a reseller, then quick click to get set up. If you want to become a reseller just for FileLocker and you're not a backup partner, then just call into our support staff or even just submit a ticket. And you can request to become a partner, and you'll get set up. And then you'll go through the same thing. So you'll be given login credentials, and that's fun. Steve asks a clarification on the difference between free and paid versions. Sure, no problem. So the difference between the free and paid is that the free version does not have administrative reporting or functions like LDAP integration. Basically anything under the admin panel is not going to work out. And if you select any of these items, you're going to be taken to a you need to upgrade page. Also, the free account is limited to only 5 users, including the company admin, and each user is limited to 5 gigabytes of storage. When you upgrade, you can have up to 10 users, whether you need them or not, and all your storage for all your users goes to unlimited, and you get admin reporting. And your per file size limitation, I'm sorry I missed that, is reduced from 25 megs to 2 gigabytes, and soon to be expanded at the end of this quarter.
And you can also review these differences on our plans and pricing page of the FileLocker website.
Good point. Yeah, we got all that information up here.
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. All nice check boxes. All right. Any other questions today? Andre asked, do you have an API? Not yet made public. We are working on it. So a big part of the FileLocker program will be extensive APIs so that we can get that out, and we'll be rolling that out over time. So you can probably expect the first set of APIs to be available sometime by February or March, or in February. All right, I think that'll sum it up for us today. So thank you all for your time, and we look forward to seeing you out there in FileLocker.
Thank you. Take care.